Hello, welcome, and thank you for watching this month's Tarot Talk. I'm intuitive reader Bryan Stafford from Stafford Tarot, and today's Tarot Talk topic is going to be about the suits of tarot. We're going to take a look at how different tarot creators look at the different suits, or how their different perspectives on the way suits can be explained or explored, I should say. But first, before we get into that Tarot Talk topic, I'm just going to give a little bit of time for some viewers to join me on this broadcast by talking a little bit about what's new at Stafford Tarot and Soul Intention, and then some of the upcoming events and workshops to look forward to. But in the meantime, we'll just give that time and some viewers will join. Now, if you're interested to receive some free readings that I will be offering later in the broadcast, feel free to write interested in the chat, and I will watch for those messages as they pop up. I will write your name on a list, and then when we get to that part in the broadcast when I offer free readings, I'll go in the order of that list. Now, I should mention that if you're interested to just watch the sample readings, if you're viewing this from my website perhaps, feel free to skip ahead in the video about 20-30 minutes, as that's when those readings will be offered. Now, what's new with Stafford Tarot and Soul Intention? Well, I'm really excited to be forming this wonderful community with my business partner, Cynthia Cole. We've really been working hard at establishing connections and creating relationships with different service providers and modalities of spirituality, and we've created a community of almost like a circle of care for people looking for help in different areas and different modalities of spirituality. So come check it out. The website is www.soulintention1111.ca, and some of the weekly services that we're offering in person in Guelph, Ontario at the Metaphysical Shop, Soul Intention at 497 Woolwich Street, is on Mondays. You can always come in and see me. I'll be offering tarot, charms, runes, and tea leaf readings, as well as some psychic mediumship sessions. And then if you really want to delve in really deep in psychic mediumship, on Tuesdays we have Janice Moffat for professional psychic mediumship sessions. She's booked in that day for the while she's here, so check it out, as well as you can always check her availability by calling us 226-332-9459. And then on Wednesdays, we have Reiki sessions taking place with Christine Wiles, who's going to be offering Reiki at Soul Intention during the summer months. Very excited to have Christine with us. And on Thursdays, Christine will also be offering astrology readings. Another gift of hers will be offered out. Anyone who's interested, she also accepts walk-ins, so please feel free to check that out. All the information's available on the website, soulintention1111.ca. And then Fridays, of course, we have open and available for different modalities and practitioners to use for one-off appointments, as well as I can be offering tarot, charms, runes, and mediumship sessions. Now, we have all sorts of upcoming events and workshops to look forward to. I'm really excited about this lineup that's coming up in the fall. Kind of a sneak peek, we're going to be taking really deep looks into teaching how to do a lot of these modalities. Participants will be able to join the workshops and learn to do mediumship for themselves, or learn to read tarot for themselves, or learn about a lot of these modalities that are available. Healing journeys, lots of opportunities for growth and development. So keep watch for the event announcements. I will be announcing that lineup. Very exciting. But coming up more sooner than that, we have the Spirit Talk workshop on Thursday, August 14th, 2025. It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be $50 per participant. It's a really great workshop. I've run it before several times, as well as at the Witches Gathering Conference in Ancaster, Ontario, that happens in the fall. I will be returning there as well, so watch for those event announcements. I'll be offering a couple of workshops there. But the Spirit Talk workshop is really about showing and proving to everyone in the workshop, all the participants, that everyone and anyone can do this. And what I do is I talk a lot about it. I define it and answer any questions and give the history and some information on it, and then I run the group through an activity where they learn to receive messages and then they deliver the messages to each other. So it's instant affirmation that, you know, they can do it. And once you realize what the experience is like, then you have a much better and clearer understanding of what it is and how to do it and what it's all about. So check that out. Thursday, August 14th is going to start at 7 p.m. in person at Soul Intention Metaphysical Shop in Guelph, Ontario. Then I have a tarot collective event. Really excited. We're going to be just inviting all sorts of different tarot readers to come join me at Soul Intention on Saturday, August 16th, 2025. It's going to start at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and it's going to be $20 per participant. It's really exciting to just be able to connect and meet like-minded individuals, and we're going to be learning and doing exercises in tarot. We're going to be offering readings. You can either give or receive readings. It's really great to just practice. If you're new to tarot, you can come in as a practice session, or you can receive readings from others and get more associations built up through conversation and meeting like-minded individuals and other readers who are actually professionally doing it, or if you're just interested in doing it for yourself. All sorts of ways in which this event can be helpful. So check it out. It's really exciting. It's going to happen here at the Soul Intention on Saturday, August 16th. Look for us at the Witches Markets at the Luna Events Canada Witches Markets in Fergus, Ontario on Saturday, August 23rd, 2025. I believe this is an outdoor event, so look for the Stafford Tarot tent, and I will be featuring some of the products from Soul Intention while I'm there. And I'll be offering in-person readings as well as free one-card impression pulls to anyone who's interested. You just have to request them while I'm between private sessions. And then also, I should mention before that on August 18th, I have my draw. It's a 1 in 5 chance to win a free remote reading over Zoom. And so you just like, comment, or share any social media that mentions the draw. I do kind of spit them out there randomly on different platforms for people to grasp and hold on to. If they like, comment, or share, I automatically take those names and put them into a hat and draw the hat on the date. On August 18th, I will be drawing the next winner, and they will receive an invite from me to join and organize and schedule a remote 15-minute reading with me. Now, if you enter the draw and you don't receive a reading from me or receive an email from me or a response, better luck next time. I only respond to the winners, and you can always participate again. So get involved in the next draw. I do run them monthly, and if you're interested when they run, you can check out my website at staffordtarot.com. I do release the dates there. Also on August 23rd, I'm really excited about the new moon card pull. I am continuing these as public general oracle readings for anyone who it may be helpful to. It really looks at the season compared to the moon phase, compared to what zodiac the moon is sitting in, compared to the energies of the cards that get drawn for that particular topic. It's just a general pull for anyone who may need that assistance or advice or suggestions. And I also will be offering that on September 7th for the full moon card pull as well. As on Thursday, September 4th, 2025. I'm kind of jumping around, I apologize. Starting at 7 p.m., we're going to be hosting the Magic of Local Plants here at Soul Intention. I'm going to be running participants through an exercise where we'll be identifying local plants that are helpful and useful in many practices, and we're going to narrow in on one specific type of plant and start learning all about the magical associations involving that one plant, so that you can then take that knowledge outside of the workshop and apply it to other areas, other plants, other associations with plants that you can build up for your own practice. So I'm really excited about that. It's $30 a participant. It's going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on September 4th. And then on September 9th, my next Tarot Talk live event is going to happen on September 9th, starts 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, similar to tonight. And that Tarot Talk topic is going to be on deep divination. We're gonna be looking at like the divination use of a crystal ball within readings and other deep divination techniques that can be used to draw out your intuition during readings. Interesting topic suggestion, and so I thought I would make it part of my tarot talk topic for next week or next month, sorry, and that's going to be happening on September 9th. And I always have a draw following the tarot talk, so if anyone's interested in the draw, you can always let me know during the broadcast and I can add you to the draw when it comes up. Like the next draw will be next Monday. Tonight for the Tarot Talk live event, later when I offer the free readings, I only offer up to 6 free short readings. Each reading takes about 15 minutes, and so it adds like an hour and a half to the broadcast sometimes. So those who sign up right away, your reading will be at the beginning of the list, and those who sign up later in the list, you may have a bit of a wait until your next reading, but I do try to keep people informed when your turn is coming up. And also, if you don't make the list, I will automatically add you to the draw. So please let me know if you are interested, even if I've already capped the readings. If I got 6 readings already, still let me know you're interested, because you will get that 1 in 5 chance to enter the draw next week and receive a remote reading. Now, the difference between a distant reading of what I'm offering here and a remote reading, which happens over Zoom, is that a distant reading, I'm just gathering very subtle information and using the cards to deliver messages, and it's really a one-way conversation. I'm delivering messages and not receiving a lot of feedback. In a remote reading, it's a two-way conversation, and so there's a lot more opportunity to receive feedback, gain information, tweak the reading by asking more questions. Getting the feedback that you're looking for can be more helpful in a remote reading than in a distant reading, but distant readings are still incredibly helpful because they connect with the energies and the messages that you needed to hear as well. You just missed the opportunity to ask a lot of further questions or get more in depth. But I do try to look at my readings from a helpful perspective, and so I always hope to be helpful. So just give me that feedback in the messages, please. Let me know how the messages are being received, if it makes sense, how it connects with you. I really appreciate that feedback during the broadcast. So tonight's Tarot Talk topic is going to be about the different suits of different decks. Now, what am I talking about suits? I mean, maybe you're not familiar with tarot, and so I'll just quickly talk about the suits. The suits in a regular tarot structured deck, and what I mean by regular is like the more commonly used one, the older deck that all the other decks are based off of. For example, the cards with pentacles, or cups, or swords, or wands. Let me get some examples here. Swords. What was a cup? I don't want a king, I want a suit. Wow, there we go. Okay, so cups, swords, wands, and pentacles. Each suit represents a different aspect of the tarot, a different tool of the tarot. When we look at the lower arcana cards, I'm really talking about the practical messages that come from tarot, and they're the ones that are numbered from 1 to 10, and they each have a suit on them. Similar to playing cards, if you notice in regular playing cards, you have the diamond, the club, the spade, and the heart, and they're all connected in the same way. It's just another perspective of looking at the 4 suits, or the 4 directions, or the 4 aspects. Just depends on your practice and what you're most comfortable acknowledging it as. So a good example is when we start with the regular playing cards compared to the standard tarot that most people know, which is the playing cards would be hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades, and the regular tarot would be wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. Hearts are about love and emotion. which is connecting them to the cups, which is all about emotion. The diamond is connected to prosperity and wealth, which is similar to the pentacle, which is connected to health or prosperity. The spade is connected to the sword, which is often associated with intellect and knowledge. And the club is often associated with the wand, or the sometimes referred to as sticks, or in some tarot structures, but it's about actions and passions in tarot. And so these messages will repeat themselves throughout different tarot decks using different symbolic suits. And what I've brought with me for this broadcast to give as example is different decks that use different suit structures. So I talked about the wands, the cups, the swords, and the pentacles, but some tarot structures are based on elements, so such as earth, air, fire, water. Again, different suits that give you different symbolic associations, but have similar meanings to them. So water tends to be based on emotion in tarot. And so here's a water card in this tarot structure, and it's usually about emotion and intuition, similar to a cup. Air in tarot, similar to swords, often associated with knowledge and intellect. Fire in this tarot structure, often referred to as passions and actions, which is associated commonly with wands in tarot. And earth, grounding and needs, which is very similar to health and prosperity with the pentacle in tarot. And that's just one different perspective or take on the different suits of the tarot. Now, some tarot is often marked with colors, and it's the colors that give you the impression of the suit. For example, the rainbow on this deck in this tarot structure refers to an earthy element, which is similar to pentacles in tarot. Or the color of this, red, is often fiery, which is associated with actions and passions similar to the wands in tarot. This color is often about water, which is associated with, emotion and intellect, which can be associated with the cups of tarot. And this color, the gray one, represents air, which is all about intellect and knowledge, which can be associated with the swords in tarot. A different structure, same tarot structure, but different symbolic associations attached. And some decks, this deck also uses color. The different colors on the different border tell you that on the different cards tell you what suit it is. So, for example, the bluish color is often connected with knowledge, which is, of course, air and connected with swords in tarot. The purplish ones are connected with emotion in this tarot structure, which is associated in tarot usually with cups, and the green ones are earthy in this tarot structure, which again is connected with the pentacles in most in the traditional tarot. And then the red borders are connected with fire. These are fire cards in this tarot structure, which is associated with the passions and actions that we take, symbolically referenced in the regular tarot structure as wands. Then you have some tarot structure that use north, south, east, and west as your different associated suits. So north would be connected with earth, which is similar to a pentacle in tarot. East would be connected with air, intellect, and knowledge, which is associated with swords in tarot. South often connected with actions and passions, associated with the wands in tarot. And then, of course, last but not least, West, which is often about emotion, associated with the cups in tarot. And so, even some creators get very unique in their practice. This deck is an interesting deck. It takes the tarot structure and puts a more aboriginal aspect to the suits. And so each suit, I can show you here if I get past the higher arcana, one suit is buffalo. When you think about buffalo, they are grounded in structure. This is your earthy element, similar to pentacles. Let's see if I can. And, the wolf. The wolf being being that it is connected with the emotion of and the communication, which can often be associated with I'm getting messages from the cards while I'm doing this, so I'm getting distracted. I apologize. But the different suits are displayed differently, like bears and wolves. I talked about the wolves and eagles. How you associate with the different suits gives you the element, gives you the realm of the tarot that you're working with. The eagles being associated with the the sight, the knowledge, the guidance often can be looked at with intellect and knowledge, which is same as the swords. Similar with the bears, the bears being that they're just the how you look at the different associations will depend on how you reference the structure of tarot. And you can follow this in any tarot structured deck, as long as it has the four suits, the lower arcana, the higher arcana, and the court cards. As long as you understand the original associations of the tarot, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, then you can apply that knowledge to any deck and just take in consideration the different perspective of the creator that they're trying to achieve. It's really, any tarot deck will draw the insights from within to the surface, and that's really what adds that insight and gives the new perspectives. I do hope that's helpful. I'm not sure how many viewers are watching, but if there's any questions, please feel free to submit them into the chat, as well as if anyone's interested in a free reading tonight. I am offering 6 free short readings during the broadcast, and so we can get started into those free readings. Now, I'm wondering if there's anything I haven't covered, or if there's other suits. I mean, there are so many different creators of tarot, and they can all put their own kind of creative spin onto the tarot, and I really don't disagree with this. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think everyone's perspective can be helpful, and if you resonate with that perspective, or if you can understand and associate with where that creator is coming from, all the best. I mean, that's how we create those connections within tarot. Now, I am getting some slow connection warnings on the screen. I really hope that that's not interfering with the quality of the reading or of the messages or of the video, and that I'm being heard okay. If there are any questions, please feel free to write them into the chat, or if anyone would like a free reading, you can submit your request. I think what I'm going to do is just start with a sample reading. I can give a sample reading showing how the different suits are used within a reading, and I'll try to move to specific decks that use specific suits. One deck that I haven't talked about yet that I think might be interesting to show a really good example of suits is a very playful deck. Let me see if I can find it. It just came to mind. This deck here. this is a cat's deck, and the different suits are explained in the cat's perspective as toys, treats, fangs and claws, and water bowls. It's really fascinating, the different perspectives that can be put on it. Like, for example, the Two of Swords, which is the two fangs. You know, the cups, the wands, the pentacles, which are treats, your needs, right? Pentacles being treats and what you need for yourself. Really interesting take. I mean, there's the Justice card, some really great, you know, the Devil. Really fun twist on the tarot, and yet you can still achieve the same and results from a tarot reading, and you can still get that insight and new perspectives. I like to pull this tarot deck out when kids come to see me with their families at markets and festivals, and I could just get a sense that they might like cats, and I pull this deck out, and it's usually a really great reading from that point. Thank you so much, Meg, for your question. I really appreciate that. Can I share a little more about the history of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck? Absolutely. So the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the deck that I'm talking about, is one of the more commonly used tarot. It's very well known because it's actually like one of the first, if not the first. Rider-Waite came up with the symbolisms and structure of the tarot, and then Pamela Smith created the imagery using those symbolic associations. Most of it is based on occult practices, a bunch of different occult practices that have been mixed together to create the tarot. For example, the numbers are based on numerology. The elements and the suits are based on specific occult practices. And then when you get into the more like court cards and higher arcana cards, you can start to see the occult symbolisms even more. All sorts of different ways of looking at it and reading it. But it did start from one specific form, and that's the Rider-Waite form. As this was the first deck, or one of the first decks that became really popular to use, other artists started creating renditions of that using the same symbolic references from different perspectives. Everybody can read the deck from different perspectives. That's why it's so interesting to get readings from different readers, or how you can get different perspectives from different readers. And so eventually, over time, there were so many different people creating different renditions of tarot that we get the vast amount of tarot options that there are today, and all from the different perspectives. But it did all stem from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Now, I just feel the need to clarify that when I'm referring to our tarot structured decks, there are so many oracle decks out there that are very different. They don't have the same structure. They're usually more at the whim of the creator, and they can have any number of cards that the creator has used for their deck. So it just depends on if it's actually a tarot structured deck. If it is, it's probably most likely based on the same structure as the Rider-Waite. Hi Alex, thanks for coming. I'm doing well. How about yourself? I am offering free readings if I can put you down for a reading, or Meg. If you're interested, just let me know. I'm going to get started in them shortly, unless there's any other questions about the different suits of tarot. Thank you for that question, Meg. That was very interesting question. And maybe for an upcoming tarot talk, we can talk more about the oracle cards and how they can be used within tarot. Absolutely, Alex. I'll add you to the list. In fact, you'll be first. And Meg, if you're interested as well, I can add you to the list. And I see more are watching as well. But if you're interested, just let me know. You just have to write interested in the chat, and I just go in the order that they appear. I'm trying to think of what else I can talk about for the different suits. If there are any questions at any time, you can always please feel free to reach out to me through my website, staffordtarot.com, my email, bryantarotreading@gmail.com, or my Facebook, facebook.com/bryantarotreading. I can also be reached out at through the Soul Intention website, as well as the Ask a Grey Witch website, which is askagraywitch.com, and that is a website set up to answer questions that are intended to help others set up a practice that's meaningful for them. That is correct, Alex. Hearts equal emotion, coins or pentacles equal material things or needs for ourselves. The swords will represent heavy thoughts and intellectual knowledge, and the wands usually represent actions and passions. Swords can represent material, depending on your perspective of the tarot. Some people will see pentacles as material because it's your material needs. I think it might depend on the message that gets received or the way that you read tarot. There's really nothing wrong about different ways to read tarot, which is why I think that the different suits that are used are so fascinating, because it's all about how we associate with them as readers, and how while reading the messages, it draws out the messages that we need to hear from within. So I'll give that quick example. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, well, let's use the cat deck. Let's do a fun example, because it really gets the point across in terms of how the different suits can be associated with tarot. I mean, you might think to yourself, how is a cat toy related to wands? I mean, how does a cat toy tell you how to, about actions and passions? Well, that's the actions and passions of a cat, right? The card that I pulled is the Queen of Pentacles. Here's what the card looks like. Now, queens and tarot are often the decision makers. They're usually decisions that affect the people around us. And pentacles are about our needs for ourselves. It can be about prosperity. If you see this as coins, it can be about finances. With cats, the prosperity for a cat is their treats. And you can see here that a cat is trying to get a treat out of one of these treat toys that people sometimes buy their animals that you can buy at pet stores. If you have a cat, you may be familiar with what this thing is. It's basically a maze that the treat can be pushed around in, and depending on how intelligent your cat is will depend pretty much on how long it takes for it to get the treat out. And it can become a fun game. It's almost like a hunting skill builder for your cat, to be honest. And it shows the cat making decisions in terms of how it's going to get that reward. And that's similar to the Queen of Pentacles, making decisions in terms of how are you going to reach that prosperity, or how are you going to gain those coins. And it shows that depiction from a cat's perspective. Let me pull another card as an example. The King of Cups. We've got the court cards coming out now. King of Cups. Kings are more forceful, direct, and there are often consequences involved in those kinds of decisions. And you can see the cat here sitting with the nice fine dishes, probably not supposed to be on there. And so there's consequences to the decision that this cat's making. Now, cups represent emotion in tarot. Usually they're connected with water or emotion, intellect. And you can see here that this cat is making decisions based on emotions. You can almost see it from its eyes that it knows it's not doing it, something it's not supposed to do. Let's see if I can not get a higher arcana. We'll talk about a suit we haven't seen yet. So the Ace of Wands. Aces are often about when something comes out of nowhere, like a realization of some kind, and wands are actions and passions. And you can see here, this cat is chasing this ribbon. It's come out of nowhere, it's intrigued its attention, and it has decided to go in that new direction that action is taking them. And that's what wands represent, is some new direction that an action will take you in. It could be a new action that you could discover for yourself, or a passion that you've realized. And you can definitely see that in the picture from a cat's perspective. So I hope that's helpful in just understanding how they can be associated with different symbolisms to show a different perspective on the same or similar messages. Perfect. Now I've added you to the list, Meg, in case you were interested as well. I did see that, yes please, about the oracle cards, but I wonder if you might be interested to receive some of those in a reading. I'm going to start with Alex though. Alex, just let me know that you're ready for your reading, and if you have a topic or question you'd like me to focus on, write it in the chat. Otherwise it can be left general. Quite often when readings are left general, the messages that you need to hear are what show up, but it's up to you if you want to refine what you're looking for from the reading itself. Now I always start my readings with a 1-card impression pull that just tells me where you're sitting energetically in the moment, and then I'll move to this deck to do that 3-card pull. Now I'll focus on love life with this deck, okay? Because in your energy in the moment, the card impression that I get is the Death card. Now, don't panic. Death doesn't mean mortality. It doesn't mean life and death. What it really uses is death as a symbolic reference to a huge transition, often referred to as like in order to pass away from, or in order to get to the next life, you got to pass away from this one. It sounds like a grim symbol, but it really talks about a drastic change. Sort of like once you go through this transition, you'll look back and won't recognize yourself from where you started. So it's like this absolute transition, almost like a new beginning or a new self, or symbolically a new life. And that's what this card represents, that you're going through that transition. So you must be making changes in your life, or ways of implementing new direction perhaps, or new insights, new perspectives on things in your world. And I think that's not an easy transition. There's a lot of challenges involved, and to get to where you're going. So as long as you keep your focus and you focus on that transition. Now I'm focusing on love life for your cards to come out, Alex. I'm just gonna cut the deck 3 times. Now what's really interesting, Alex, is 3 cards have come out reversed. And that's often a sign for me that the message is about a difficult journey or a challenge, okay? And because this was about love life, I'm wondering about the challenges within that. Now, I'm just going to go in the order that they came out. These are not as harsh messages as what it may sound like so far. I mean, yes, they're reversed and it's a challenging journey, but it's giving great a more positive insight in that, and I'll explain as I go through each card. This is the 5 of Wands reversed. It usually represents, when it looks like this, as a no win-win situation. It's almost like you may be the winner or feel positively like you've won, but there's actually no winners. There's no benefit to anybody in this. When it's this way, it means you've changed that, or you've avoided that altogether. So I really don't think this is a no win-win situation anymore. You may have felt that way, or you maybe that's the transition that you're going through in the moment. But certainly it's about this not being a win-win, that there is a victory, there is a reward involved. Now, the 9 of Wands reversed is often about not having to hold your ground anymore, not having to defend the actions that you take when they're different from everyone else. So I think you're starting to get into this new mode, you're starting to get into this new action perhaps, but you've realized the destination. You know the vision. I mean, 9 in numerology is about what the destination is going to look like. What's the goal? And wands, actions, and passions. When you take the right actions to get to the goal, that's often what it's about, whether your actions are like other people's or not. And what this is saying is you just need to take your action in your own way, and do what's right for you. Now the next card is the Hanged Man card reversed. And I find this interesting because when the Hangman card is reversed, it often represents someone who feels stuck, like they can't really move forward. They feel like they're trapped, or they can't move forward for some reason or another. They might feel bound or tied back. When you look at the Hangman card the way that it looks normally, he is not struggling. He actually looks like he may be even trying to make himself as comfortable as possible until he can be tied down or cut down. Maybe he's waiting to be rescued. But he's not really stuck, even though he thinks he's stuck. When it's like this, he's not really stuck. When it's this way, he feels stuck. And for you, Alex, you might feel stuck. And so you might want to find a way of turning this card around by analyzing for yourself, maybe through some subtle shadow work, that what is making me feel stuck in this? And when you can solve that for yourself, that's when the card flips around and you're no longer feeling stuck, that you can be cut down at any moment or wait to be rescued. But in the meantime, it looks like this. This kind of tells me that you may be holding yourself back a little bit, but there's this opening up and this realization perhaps. But the fact that this is no longer a no-win-win situation, and your actions are not now different from the other actions around you, that often resembles acceptance. And then as long as you can get past this feeling stuck. I do hope that this is helpful, Alex. Let me know if this made sense or if you have any questions. I am wondering how I can extend on this reading further. My heart chakra deck gives great insight in terms of what someone needs for themselves. And if I apply that to this reading, it may give good advice moving forward. Hi Mandy, thanks for joining me. Let me know if you're interested in a free reading. I can add you to the list. I'm offering free short readings. Each reading takes about 15 minutes using different dimensions of different decks. Oh, thank you for that feedback, Alex, that it sounds good. You understand then what this is getting at, I assume. Certainly, Mandy. So I'm just giving a reading to Alex, and then I will give a reading to Meg, and then I will offer one to you, Mandy. And anyone else who might be interested, just let me know. Write interested in the chat, and I'll add you to the list. I got 3 spots still available. Now, what's really interesting about the cards that have come out, Alex, is it's 2 higher arcana cards bookending this 3-card pull. And I find that fascinating. It's usually a really important message when it shows up that way. I'm going to start at the practical message and work my way towards those more important messages, okay? Now, the 9 of air reversed. 9, as I mentioned earlier in the call in numerology, is often about the goal. You know, what's the outcome, what's the vision that you're heading towards. And the color around the card tells me that this is about the air, it's the intellectual knowledge, it's about what's heavy on your mind. And this is the Darkest Fears card reversed. Now, 9, when we give heavy thoughts to how we're reaching the goal, we can often be our worst enemies. You know, we may overthink things, we may not think enough, or maybe, you know, there's a lot of reasons and a lot of thought that has to go into reaching our goals and our destination. And when it's reversed like this, it's saying to me basically that you're not having to face your darkest fears. Don't look at this like it's your darkest fears that you have to face moving forward. I think you need to shed some of those unsettling or uncomforts and try and build yourself up, empower yourself more. What's really standing out for me is the middle eclipse on the image, and that often represents somebody who's you know, opening up knowledge, reaching enlightenment, having an experience on a spiritual level. So keep that in mind. I really don't think that this is you facing your darkest fears, and it's suggesting that it's not. So if you're feeling anxious, perhaps, I think you can just allow that to go. I mean, when you think about what your question is about, if you're more confident and more secure in yourself, you're going to catch the eye of that other person. Now, the two cards are really interesting, the higher arcanas that are bookending, and so I want to speak about them together. It's the 0 card and the 7 card of higher arcana in this tarot structure. The 0 card is often known as the Fool in the regular tarot structure of the more Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's also known as the Peon in some decks, or the Peasant, or the Person, but it's usually the individual that's walking the journey through the higher arcana. And on this card deck, the deck of cards, it's called the Trust card, and it's about trusting yourself, allowing yourself to guide yourself forward. Listen to your heart, trust your instincts, follow that intuitive sense, and you can see that this person here is just allowing their inner self to move forward. A good question, Alex. I would take that based on perspective. Is your inner self changed, or is it changing? I would say both. Based on the cards here, I think you're on a journey of change. I mean, you're in it now, right? According to the energy in the moment. And so I think that you've been through some of this process, and you still have some of the process to go. So I would say both. I think your inner self has changed, and it's continuing to change. And this is suggesting that you need to trust yourself and follow your heart. Make a move when it feels right, and just listen to yourself. Allow yourself to guide yourself forward. That's how you break this darkest fear. So I think it's your head that is more against you than your heart. And so listen more to your heart and see if that helps balance that out a little bit. I do hope that this is helpful, Alex. If there's anything that I didn't touch on, or if you had other questions on, let me know. Otherwise, I'll start to cleanse and clear the decks, and then I'll move on to Meg's reading. Also, let me know if you can hear me well, or if I'm cutting out. I'm getting some warnings on the screen that this connection may be slow, unfortunately, and so I really hope it's not affecting the quality of the reading. Okay, thank you, Alex, for that confirmation. All good. Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate that message. Okay. Oh, thank you, Mandy. I appreciate that, just knowing that I can be heard. One time I went through the whole tarot talk topic, and it was so jittery, people couldn't hear. Oh, Alex couldn't hear. Is it because the volume's down, or because I was jittery or cutting out? I apologize if the volume's down. I can try and speak up louder. My microphone wouldn't turn on earlier. I always end up with technical issues right before I go live, and then it just becomes a challenge for the rest of the night. I can also reiterate anything from the reading, Alex, if you have questions afterwards, or if you review the recording. It does get posted on my Facebook as well as my website, staffordtarot.com. Let me know if you don't hear or see the reading from there. Okay, Meg, let me know that you're on the call. Oh, hi, Meg. There you are. You are fine. Okay, good. So, Meg, I'm going to start with that 1-card impression pull, and then I'll move to my Morgan Greer deck, where I'll focus on a topic or question of your choice. For the 1-card impression pull, I get the 8 of Cups. It looks like this. Now, 8 in numerology is often about the success of. And in order to reach success, we have to walk some sort of path or journey. And this is suggesting the path or journey is emotional. And you have to work through the emotions to get through that journey to reach the success. This card is suggesting that you're walking away from the emotions to find higher ground. Now, sometimes there's nothing wrong with this, as long as you be sure to come back to those emotions, because when we often walk away from emotions, they tend to bite us again afterwards, or come back to affect us afterwards. So just make sure, Meg, that you're working through the emotions that you may feel like you're walking away from to find higher ground. Now, higher ground for me, when it sticks out like this in the card, it's usually about finding structure and grounding for yourself. This could be about just giving yourself a break, giving yourself time to relax or adjust in order to come back to those cups. Just make sure that you do plan to return to come back to these cups to work them out, okay? A general reading, absolutely, I can do that. Now, a general reading usually just gives you the messages that you need to hear most. It's not really specific about any certain topic, but they sometimes can narrow in, because sometimes that's what you need to hear, right? Now, 3 practical cards have come out. These are all lower arcana cards, which means they all have suits attached to them. Now, the wands come first. I'm going to talk about that. It's the 5 of Wands. 5 is like a pivotal point in tarot. When you reach 5 in numerology, from my understanding, it's like a pivotal climactic decision that needs to be made. And if you look at it as, I like to explain it like a journey from 0 to 10. And when you get to 5, you have just as much effort and distance to continue on the journey to get to the 10, like get to the goal, as you do as going back to the beginning and the 1 going back to the drawing board. And so it's really about making a choice for yourself. Is it in your best interest to continue these actions, or is it in your best interest to go back? Quite often this can be a struggle, a challenge, and it's depicted in the card as one wand up against other wands, and each wand is sort of holding their own. Your actions up against other people's actions, and you have to sort of make a choice for yourself. Like, I can't get any further, it's like a deadlock. Do I continue? Do I go back? The next one I want to talk about is the 2 of Pentacles, or 2 of Coins. And when you see the card like this, what's really standing out for me is how he's almost balancing those 2 aspects of Pentacles. And that's often about 2 aspects of needs for yourself. So when you think about what brings you grounding, it's either health or prosperity. And you have 2 aspects of either health or prosperity that you're balancing out. So this can look like health and finances. It can look like 2 aspects of finances, like maybe you're juggling home and work finances or expenses, or perhaps it's about 2 health finances or 2 health aspects. But either way, it's about 2 needs that are being balanced out. And 2 is often about a choice. When you have to balance it out like that, you have to make good decisions, good choices to make that balance even. And I see you working hard at creating this balance of some kind in terms of what you need for yourself, Meg. Now, the next card is the 9 of Cups. This is about getting your emotions in order. It's about going through and doing the internal work to understand your emotions well and organizing them in a row, putting them in order. And that's what this card represents. This person's structured, he's grounded, and he's put his cups in a row. He understands his cups, he understands his emotions well, to the point where if I gave this person a hypothetical question, he would know exactly how he would feel if that happened, and that would give him a lot of insight in terms of preparation or what he would do about it. It's really about organizing and understand your emotions well. And I think that speaks highly for you, Meg, because in the moment, you're taking a break. You're walking away from these emotions to find higher ground. And this says to me that that's part of the process, that you are going to come back and work through and put these in a row. I think that's part of the energetic interaction that's taking place here. Now, I am wondering how I can delve into this further for you using another deck. I'm going to look at my Zen deck because it gives great the descriptions of the energetic interaction that's involved. And given that this was a general reading but seems to have a lot involved in terms of this, I mean, both of these cards suggest some sort of balance that needs to be created in terms of what you need for yourself and the actions and passions that you take. And it seems to all be about this working out the emotions. And so I'm going to extend on that. I'd like to know the energetic interaction of what's being worked out here. So the energetic interaction is interesting. We have 2 court cards and a suit. I'm going to just go in the order that they came out, okay? The energetic interaction of this is involving others. This is the share card. It's often looked at as a harvest card, and it represents providing. So this part of the energetic interaction in this is about what you provide, what you're providing. There seems to be a disconnect in compromise, or some sort of disruption to compromise. Almost like it could be an unfair compromise, maybe an unfair give and take. Perhaps you're putting in more than what you're receiving out of this, but it definitely feels like there's compromise needed in this, and that's part of the energetic interaction that's happening, is this, and it could even be taking advantage of. But it's not all bad. You do have the adventure card, and this is often about getting through the adventure, you know, reaching the destination, finding the light, so to speak. It's about taking the direction that you need. Because that card is out and the way it's standing out for me, I think the rest is really referring to a journey. You know, there's a journey that has a result, and you just have to do the work and take the action in order to, you know, each step at a time along that journey to get to where you're going. I do hope that this makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, thank you for that feedback, Meg, that I see there. This is helpful to better understand the card. Thank you. I do hope to be helpful. I do try to explain the cards as best I can so that it's understood where the messages are being received from. And everybody reads the cards differently based on their intuition and what stands out for them most. So I appreciate you trusting my intuition to deliver the messages you need to hear. Oh, thank you for that this is very applicable reading. I do hope it's helpful. If you don't have any questions, I'll start to remove the cards. One of the things that I do notice that I will point out, that when I look at this reading overall, Meg, I do notice that you have wands, cups, pentacles. You have the equivalent of pentacles and wands. You have cups in your energy in the moment. There are no swords appearing on the table out of all these cards. And I think sometimes it's just as important, when it stands out for me, to look at what doesn't show up as what does. Because what does show up are the messages you needed to hear for yourself. What doesn't show up is the swords. Swords are connected to heavy thoughts and intellectual knowledge, and that doesn't mean that you don't have it, and that's not why they're showing up. They're not showing up because you don't need those messages. Take that as confirmation, Meg, that you may have the right mindset involved, or you may be thinking about this the right way. Otherwise, in the reading, you'd have swords trying to direct you differently. So just know that because swords didn't show up here, it may be a positive sign that you're thinking about this the right way, that you have the right mindset. The messages you needed to hear today were more about what you need for yourself, the passion and action involved, and the emotions. I'm going to cleanse and put away the cards. And then we'll move on to Mandy. So Mandy, let me know that you're still on the call and available for the reading. It's a short reading, similar to what I've been offering on the call. One card per impression pull that lets me know where you're sitting in the moment, and then I'll move to a 3-card pull, and then we can extend further into another deck, depending on where we want to take the reading from there. So Mandy, let me know if you also have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on, or it can be left general. Like I said earlier, quite often when the readings are left general, it's the messages that you need to hear that show up, but it's up to you, everyone that I give readings to, if they want to refine what they're looking for from the reading session. I should also mention that sometimes there's like a slight delay in the call from when the messages have been entered to when I receive them in the broadcast. I've noticed this when I review the broadcast after I've posted it, and I just make sure that, you know, I don't say anything silly on it. And yeah, usually the messages come up a little slower for me. Sometimes I've noticed that during the broadcast the message is there and I don't see it yet. So just be patient with me as we work with the technology that we have to work with. General is fine. Thank you so much, Mandy. I will do a general reading. Now I'm going to start with that one card impression pull, just connecting the cards with your energy and charging them with that intention. And the card that I get for you is the World card reversed. This is often a card for someone who really shouldn't change their perspective. You may be being pushed to change your perspective in some way on the way that you fit in the world. And this card being reversed means that you're holding your ground. You're not changing your perspective. In fact, you might be enhancing the perspective that you had that's different from what you're being encouraged to change. When it looks like this, it's about changing your perspective. Nudity in tarot is often about vulnerability, and you can see here the different perspectives from the different corners looking in on where this person fits in the world. When it's reversed, it's often about not changing that perspective, about keeping your own or holding your mindset, or deciding for yourself rather than what would be with the flow of things. I hope that that's helpful and makes sense. And what I'll do is I'll move to that 3-card pull. This is just a general reading for messages that you needed to hear. I'll just look at how the cards speak to each other to get that message. Oh, thank you for that feedback, Mandy. Yes, it does. That does make sense. Good. Okay, a Higher Arcana and 2 Court cards are bookending this reading. That tells me, Mandy, right away that this is about a really important decisions that need to be made. The 2 Court cards are really interesting. I'm going to start there and work my way towards the Higher Arcana. The 2 Court cards are the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. I feel like they are speaking together, and not only because they're bookending the reading, but I'm just being drawn to them both together. And so I'm going to read them that way, okay? But I will go card by card so you understand where I'm getting the messages from. This is where I feel like it's a really important message, and you're in some indecision about this, or a really important decision to be made, and there's some indecision about this. And so Kings are about the decision makers there's consequences involved in these kinds of decisions. They're usually forceful and direct. When it's the decisions of Pentacles, it's about making choices about what you need for yourself, and that there are often consequences involved in making those kinds of decisions. Now, the Queen of Swords is showing up here, and Queens are more nurturing, caring, and their decisions often affect the people around them. Now, Swords are heavy thoughts and intellectual knowledge. So these are really important decisions about heavy thoughts and knowledge. And yet when the Queen is reversed, it often represents not being able to make those decisions yet. Either there's struggle or challenge or missing information. And as soon as you resolve that challenge or receive that missing information, that's when the card flips around and you're making those decisions in the best interest of what's heavy on your mind. But in the meantime, it looks like this. So you can see the indecision. You're making choices that are direct, and there's consequences, and these are financial decisions. And then there's these choices and decisions that you're not able to make that affect the people around you. Now, it doesn't mean you won't be able to make that decision, because when you solve the problem or realize the challenge, that's when it flips around and you're able to sit in the thrones. But in the meantime, the reading looks like this. Now, where this leads is the Emperor card reversed. Again, emperors are often about forceful, direct, consequential responsibility. And when it's reversed, it often represents either it's not your responsibility or not a responsibility that you need to sit in. So it's not really your emperor throne, and yet you're having to take on this responsibility. So given that there's this responsibility that may not even be yours, or that you don't want to sit in, and there's this indecision and decisions being made, I could see this being a challenging time or challenging path, especially when I bring it back to where you're sitting in the moment, where you're holding your ground, you're not changing your perspective, and maybe that's what's influencing you to not make those decisions just yet. Or perhaps that's the perspective on the responsibility that's being mentioned here. It's really interesting. Court cards, this many court cards coming out in this kind of reading, like I said, often represents really important decisions to be made. Oh, thank you for that feedback, Mandy, that you stand your ground. I could see that with, not changing your perspective, making the decisions in the best interest of what you need. I am wondering how I can extend on this reading further. I am wondering actually if my heart chakra may be helpful, my heart chakra deck. I did use it earlier tonight as well. I do use this deck quite often in readings because it does give insight in terms of what someone needs for themselves from a heart chakra standpoint. And so I'm just going to apply that to your reading, Mandy. Hopefully it'll give you good advice moving forward. Thank you for that, Mandy, that confirmation that yes, you agree. And I'm sure it's complicated. Maybe that's perhaps why the Emperor and the Queen of Swords is reversed. Now, a higher arcana, 2 suits have come out for this extension of this reading. Really interesting. I'm going to start with those practical messages and work towards that more important message. This is the 6 of air in this tarot structure. It's often about the East, representing intellect and knowledge, and 6 is how we interact with the people around us. So when we get that interaction around people around us and knowledge, it's often about a realization. But it shows in the card a depiction of someone kind of pulling back the curtain. It's usually an enlightenment or an awareness or learning something about the people around you. When it's this way, the way it came out for you, it often represents it's not like you just peeked through the curtain, right? Like this has been something that you've been aware of, and you need to acknowledge that for yourself is what this is saying. Acknowledging that you've been on this path for a while. Often this revealance brings healing, and that's why it's called the Healing Begins card. But when it's reversed, it's like you're not at the beginning of this healing. This has been a journey of healing, and you're somewhere along that journey. The 7 of emotion, or water, or west in this tarot structure. 7 is often about spiritual development, and when we have spiritual development that's emotional, it can be a challenge. It can be a tough journey to get through, an emotional journey. And so it's really about being kind to yourself, being considerate to yourself, and that's why this card is called Choose Your Battles. Decide the battles that you take on, what's worth taking on right now, what's worth your attention, and what isn't. Letting go of the things that aren't worth your time is going to help you not to feel so overwhelmed in your situation, and help you have that, emotional reflection to move forward spiritually. Now, the higher arcana card that I want to share with you, Mandy, is the Master card reversed. Now, this is the 15th card in the tarot structure. 15 breaks down to a 6 in numerology, and that's often about how we interact with others. And the Master card is often about being the master of your heart. When it's reversed, it's more about containing and protecting your heart. And I see this for you, Mandy. What's really standing out for me is how the heart is entrapped in the cage. And I feel like the main character on the card is the one doing it, meaning that you could be trapping your own heart in order to protect yourself. It definitely feels protective with the way that it's come out reversed. You want to be careful that you don't enclose or hold back yourself. Now, this is advice moving forward, and so I really think that what this is saying is to contain yourself. Don't allow your passions to get the best of you, and then next thing you know, you've taken that step too far, or you haven't taken the right approach. So just make sure that you calm yourself, you breathe, you maybe meditate or do some journaling or some self-reflection first. Make sure that you have all the information, all the details, where your heart is saying to you and how you can handle this. And that's when this card flips around and you become the master of your own heart. But in the meantime, it looks like this. You want to make sure that what you're protecting and that your passion doesn't get the best of you. I do hope that that's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, Mandy, or if I can clarify anything here. Now, when I look at this reading as a whole, you have the pentacles, you have the swords, you have cups, no wands. And as I was saying earlier, when this stands out for me, it's important to look at what that could mean for you. And I think you're taking the right action, because otherwise you'd have wands on the table trying to tell you different. Okay, so take that as confirmation, Mandy, that I think you're on track in terms of the actions and passions that are involved, the messages you needed to hear about what you need for yourself, the thoughts involved, and the emotions. Oh, thank you for that feedback, Mandy. I really appreciate it. Oh my God, yes, this is crazy accurate. I do hope it's helpful. Let me know if there's any questions. Otherwise, I'll start to clear the decks and cleanse them. Now, if anyone else is on the call and would like a free one or a free short, distant reading, just let me know. Awesome. Thank you, Mandy. You're very welcome. You're so welcome. I appreciate everybody who's come on the call tonight. Feel free to check me out next month. That Tarot Talk is going to be happening September 9th. And I'm going to be doing it on the use of divinatory methods within tarot, ways in which you can enhance your intuition. Really divination within tarot, and then I will be doing I'll look into, after that, maybe the following month, we can look at oracle cards and how oracle cards can be used within tarot. So check that out. The next Tarot Talk is going to be happening on Tuesday, September 9th. It'll start at 8 o'clock, similar to tonight. Well, Mandy, I understand, I often will teach a tarot class, a self-tarot reading class, from the perspective of the participants. So I show them the basic associations that were built from the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and then we use our intuition to read further into the cards beyond that. And guaranteed, if you're reading the original associations that came from the deck, then you are like 80% accurate to what the book or the descriptions are going to tell you. Yes, Alex, I do have a workshop about this for self-tarot. Fortunately, I'll be offering it again in October. I did do it more towards the beginning of the summer, and I do have the Spirit Talk workshop that you mentioned, and that one is about mediumship, and that one will be coming up Thursday, August 14th. I would say that intuition is probably your best tool in reading tarot, Mandy. That's a great point. I think that was my problem. I need to use my intuition. It's a lot of practitioners' jumping point or starting point. Once you connect with your intuition, the cards just resonate. Things will stand out for you if you follow your intuitive sense. So don't give up, keep trying. And if you're interested, let me know. I do offer the workshop privately as well, but you get the best deal by joining the group workshops. Alex, if you're interested to do the mediumship one, just connect with soulintention1111.ca and click on events, and it should be in the list of upcoming events. And when you click on the Spirit Talk workshop, there's a register button, and you can fill in your name and email address, and it just guarantees your spot for that workshop. We have had some workshops fill up to the max, and it's the people who register that guarantee their spot. Now, over the summer, our numbers have been varied. Simply because of people's availability and vacations and whatnot, and so we've been pretty flexible. But I still want to put that that call out to just register and make sure that you guarantee your spot. Oh, check out the website. All the information is available on the soulintention1111.ca, as well as it should be available on the staffordtarot.com website. And if you're interested to build up a practice for yourself, or you want to learn more about shadow work or energy work or divination, you can always check out askagraywitch.com. Speaking of askagraywitch.com, I guess it's not bad to do a little bit of selfless promotion, but my book will be available this week coming up. I'm very excited about this. It is the Inquiries of the Craft, an exploration of humanist Wicca. It's really a perspective on my practice, and in that talks about a lot about my connections with humanist Wicca, but also with divination, and it demystifies tarot and mediumship and other topics of inquiry. It's based on the questions that have been submitted to the askagraywitch.com website, and how I've responded in a way that is helpful for others for setting up a practice for themselves. So I do hope that the book is enjoyed and helpful to everybody, and that will be coming out this week. And then I will be announcing a book launch date where I will have an event and people can come to the store and just celebrate with me. And we can, you can buy your copy or just take part in the celebrations. So thank you so much for those who joined me, and for those who received readings today. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mandy, for the congrats there. Yeah, so check all the information's available on my websites, and if you're interested in more information about tarot or different modalities of divination, feel free to reach out to me. I'm available throughout all sorts of different ways of reaching me, through email, through text message, through the websites. They offer text messaging, as well as interactive messages that can be sent out, and more. So my Facebook, my social media, I do get back to most messages. So thank you so much. So the next Tarot Talk event, again, September 9th. Looking forward to that. And we'll be talking about the divination modalities within tarot. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. If you're interested to enter the draw, just the last thing, just let me know. You can reach out to me directly by letting me know in a message, or you could, like I said, if you like, comment, or share any social media post that mentions the draw, you're automatically included. I do actually write down the names, cut them out, put them in a hat. I don't record the winners simply because sometimes, or announce the winners, simply because sometimes readings are received as private and personal, and I very much respect the confidentiality of the people who come to see me, and so I don't announce the winners. I do announce that there was a winner, and I do respond only to the winners. So make sure that if you sign up for the draw that you check your messages after August 18th to see if you're a winner. Thank you so much. Take good care. Bright blessings, and we'll see each other next time. Bye.